Pigweed here. Today we review an IPA and discuss transhumanism. Again. Well, good evening.
Hey, good evening, Pigweed. How's it going? How about some beer and conversation?
I think that's a great idea. What are we drinking?
We're drinking an IPA, Eye Witness Brews.
Okay, from some local boys.
From local boys,
Very
that's right.
good,
Okay.
very good.
So, what's on your mind?
As you recall, we got into this topic of transhumanism, and
Yeah.
it was just too much information.
It's too much. There's so much to talk about. Yeah.
And so we just cut it off and said, well, we'll pick up later.
We'll pick it up later
Here we are.
because there's a lot more to say.
Yes, there is. Well, tell me about this beer.
So it's a funny name. It's called 13 Eyewitness Brews.
I see.
And it's a collaboration with WJZ-TV, which is Channel 13 Eyewitness News. So they're playing off the name there. Sounds interesting.
And I don't know what sort of collaboration is going on there. Maybe they brewed a beer for their anniversary celebration.
Something along
like
those
that.
lines. But
And
you got to read
what
this
did they do?
this description that I got up at Total Wine here. This is get in there. Pores clear golden with a fluffy white head, pronounced aromatic explosion of passion fruit, bright citrus, and fresh cut pine, underpinned by a subtle herbal dankness. The addition of rice creates a crisp, almost neutral canvas. That's like
wow.
That's like when you read a wine review and they say,
Yes.
subtle hints of shoe leather and all this other crazy
Yes.
stuff.
Yeah, you're right. There's tobacco and
Right, yeah, tobacco and other kinds of weird things.
It's got a. I don't know. We don't have any IBUs on this, or do we?
No, it didn't give me any IBUs.
But the review from
No, that
Total Wine
didn't give me any
well,
IBUs.
it's IBU-y. It's bitter. I mean, it's bitter.
It's definitely bitter.
And but in a good way. Some dankness, sure. I've had some hazies lately that I just did not like.
Yeah.
And here we've got a nice, clear looking American IPA, and with good.
Yeah, I like
hotness.
it. It's definitely serious on the hops. There's a lot of hops going on there. I'm not getting this explosion of passion fruit in the aroma, but it's very good. If you have to like hops to like this one though, because it's got the lot of hop bitterness going on there.
Definitely a lot of hot bitterness.
Yeah, but very good. Well done, guys.
Like it. I'll take that over the juicy, whatever that means.
Have us on your show and we'll talk about the beers.
Yes, we should have gone to the celebration.
I know.
That was last
week.
week.
That was last week and we missed it. Okay. So what else? What did we not say about transhumanism?
All right, well, let's redefine just so we know what's going on here.
Yeah.
And last time a certain somebody on the show got mixed up between transgenderism and transhumanism.
We're not going to make that mistake.
We're not going to make that mistake. What we're talking about here is something that does not actually involve genitalia.
No, it does not. Well, I suppose it could possibly, but it does not directly involve genitalia.
There is this not science fiction-y sounding, futuristic thing that
is not science fiction-y or future-y.
No, the people who are technological and financial elites, power elites, are thinking about this and promoting this as we speak.
Absolutely,
because they're seeing, what's coming down the road, AI coming down the road, and they're like, you know what?
I want to get in on that.
You better, because you don't want to be John Connor and try to go head to head with AI. Your best chance is some sort of merging.
Of course, it doesn't occur to them to say maybe we shouldn't develop AI.
No, it doesn't.
No, we have to go full steam ahead with AI, even though it's going to create this monster. So we have to become a monster so we can fight against the monster.
Exactly. Yeah. Yes, it's going to. We know we don't know what we're doing.
Yeah,
we're pretty sure it's going to be terrible.
Yeah,
and we are going as fast as we can.
And the best way to prepare for that is to become terrible.
That's it.
We're going to become the Borg so we can fight against the Borg.
Pretty much. Yeah. That's how they're looking at it.
That's how they're looking at it. So it's scary and crazy.
And so this comes in various ways. Yes, there's some sort of like exoskeleton soldiers, right?
Right.
Where you can put on a suit so you're half. You're half creature, half man, probably. The one eyeball that I can see.
Right.
Really far.
Imagine you're a sniper.
Yeah.
And they say, look, we give you this special eyeball, we'll double your pay.
And quadruple your accuracy.
Yeah,
and,
exactly, because you got to sight it. How far away is that guy? Is he 600 yards or 650 yards? And how do I sight this rifle?
Using
exactly
all your AI information. And so we mentioned this before, that even the fact that we're carrying around cell phones all the time is already...
We're already partway there.
We're partway there, because compare yourself to somebody from 1985. You're like, well, I mean, I can tell you the weather in Bangladesh.
Yeah.
I can give you the directions to anywhere, any
How about
place.
this? I don't know your phone number.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I don't.
Yeah,
it's in my phone. I don't know it.
Because you rely on your phone, for stuff.
And that would be unthinkable back in 1981. Of course, I'd know everybody's phone.
Yeah,
number.
I mean, that's, well, do you know your phone number of the house you grew up in?
Yeah,
right now,
I do.
Yeah, I do too.
Right. Yeah. I could rattle off 5 or 6 phone numbers from my youth.
You don't need that anymore. You don't need that. So this is just like a little taste of the merging that's going on. Like we're going to be giving up certain attributes that we have to the machine, and this is the beginning of it.
And I saw a thing just today of Zuckerberg talking about the next phase is going to be glasses, right? Which I think Google tried this a while ago with Google Glass, and it didn't catch on. But we're getting farther along with this, and it makes perfect sense that you would have an interface here. So the AI there'd be a little camera on the glasses, so it could see what you're seeing, and it could have a little heads-up display in here, so you could see things you want to see.
And it would sort of. I mean, are you saying it would like sort of hologram out in front of, like say a couple of 2 feet from your eye is a screen over here,
right?
That is while you are cruising chicks in Hungary,
right?
Everything that you look at, it's translated,
yes,
right? So you don't need to do that, and
there could be a little speaker back here by your ear.
When somebody speaks to you, it's going to translate for you.
It could do all kinds of things. Imagine all the things that could do, and that's taking us. It's not like putting circuitry in your brain yet, but it's getting us closer and closer to becoming part of the machine.
This guy developed it looks like a mouth retainer.
Yeah.
And with your tongue, you can navigate like a mouse for paralyzed people.
Oh, but that's genius, because the thing that's lacking in this kind of an interface, I wrestled with this a long time ago. I was writing this science fiction book about people getting implants in their eyes that would do something similar to that.
Okay.
But the real thing that you don't have is you don't have a keyboard.
Yeah.
So how do you move a cursor? How do you put in words? And one answer is to speak, of course. But is everybody going to be talking constantly all the time? There has to be a way to input data. Yeah. And so that's a genius idea.
So typing won't be easy, but moving a cursor.
Yeah.
And you saw him do it. And he was killing it.
Wow.
So that's I mean, again, there you go. This is part of transhumanism.
Yeah.
You ready to get on to consciousness here, or
yeah? So I mean, the question about transhumanism is it going to happen? Why is it going to happen? Should it happen? And I think, is it going to happen? It's already happening to some extent. It's happening with. We talked about this last time. It's happening with medical devices. Trying to restore things. But yeah. So now let's get on to what happens to your consciousness when you start replacing parts of your brain. And I guess before we talk about that, we should talk about, is the mind the same thing as the brain? That's a big
but what we're getting, the point of this, I think, is living forever.
Yeah.
Right.
That's one of the points.
And so the idea would be, can you upload your consciousness?
Yeah.
Because when your body rots, the you that is the thinking you that is looking out from inside your body to the rest of the world.
Yeah.
What if you could upload that and then put it into a robot or whatever? So let's start there and then say, well, how does that even work? So go ahead.
So exactly. That's the idea, is that you have this conception of yourself as being, most people kind of imagine themselves as like this little homunculus, this little guy who sits back in the back of your head.
Moving levers.
Moving levers and controlling the body and seeing things coming in and hearing things coming in. But there's like this little personality, this little consciousness, this little me that's sitting back there doing all this stuff.
Right,
controlling my foot.
Separate from your body.
Yeah. And the concept then would be, well, what if I could just take that little guy and upload him up to the web, or upload him up to the cloud, whatever, and then now he can live in this fantasy world and do whatever.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of problems with that. One problem is the religious question of, is everything that you are contained in a physical thing that could actually be uploaded? That's a problem. Right. But even from a purely physical perspective, there's another problem, which is there's a lot of processing that goes on between input and consciousness. Like, my eyes are being exposed to billions of bits of information constantly all the time. And somehow or other, my eyeball, my optic nerve, all the things that bring that information into my brain is filtering that stuff down through a bunch of different routines that have been developed over millions of years that say, these are the things that are important, these are the things you have to pay attention to, so that when something moves, it gets your attention. Because you have this subroutine somewhere in your body that says, I got to pay attention to those kind of things or I'm going to die. Yeah. Right? So that...
But to the materialist, to the skeptic, it would be like, yes, that is the meat engine of the physical brain.
Yes, but what I'm saying is, exactly, that's true. But what I'm saying is, that's not all in your brain. Like, there are aspects of that aren't in your brain at all. There are other places in your nervous system. They're in your optic nerve, for example, which you don't really usually think of as part of your brain.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So that this idea that your whole self...
You're interpreting sensations through all your senses.
Exactly. So, I mean, there's this idea that it's all going on in your brain, and you could just take your brain and upload it. Yes. I'm saying baloney. I mean, there's stuff going on in your spinal cord. There's stuff going on in your optic nerve. There's stuff going on in your eyeball. There's stuff going on in your ears. There's stuff going on in your gut, in your skin. So there's a sense in which we're embodied in a way that it's not like you could just take all the bits of information from your brain and upload it. And it doesn't work, because all those bits of information in your brain are just part of this whole embodied experience that's very different from just some software that you can take off one computer and stick it in another computer.
Yes, so there's this discussion that we saw between Michael Shermer, who's a scientist and a skeptic and a materialist, and a neurosurgeon who is also a religious neurosurgeon who has all of these anecdotal experiences.
Right.
Questionable anecdotal experiences.
He didn't, but other people did.
That while he's doing surgery, he's like taking out massive chunks of brains and the person is conscious and perfectly with it, suggesting in some way that the mind is controlling the words that's coming out of the mouth that don't have anything to do with the fact that he's in there mucking about with the head meat,
right?
Which seemed a little bit weird. So I thought, all right, who is going to come down where on this consciousness thing?
Yeah.
Going, all right, the materialist is going, no, the mind is just what the brain does. It's the activity of the brain, and it's not floating around separately. So for him, without the head meat, you're not going to be able to upload. And the other guy with the mind-body split, it's like, the meat doesn't really matter. It exists on its own. So you certainly could upload. But they came down on opposite sides of that.
So the religious guy was saying that there's an aspect to yourself that transcends the body and the brain.
Yes.
So that even if you could take all the data, let's step aside from what I was saying before about this optic nerve. Let's say that, let's just assume for the sake of argument that when we say brain, we mean all that other stuff too. Okay? So he's saying even if you were to take all that data, you haven't captured the entire person.
Well, I think he's thinking. I think he's thinking soul.
Yeah, and I think he related that to.
Doesn't have a physical aspect that could go in. Is that what you think?
Yeah, there was a non-physical aspect to it, and he was saying it had to do with abstract thought, like things like mathematics and other kinds of things like that. That there were obviously, if somebody goes in your brain and pokes around, you might move your finger, or you might feel a sensation of cold or warmth or something like that. That's well established. Nobody disputes that. But he was saying that there are certain things that some neuroscientists had supposedly demonstrated or whatever, and who knows whether that's right or wrong. But he was saying that there are things related to abstract thought and other things that aren't just a product of the brain. And the other guy was saying, well, maybe not.
I think my thought on Shermer, the materialist, was like, look, if the brain is just like a meat engine doing billions of physical computations, it's really nothing more than
a fancy machine.
A fancy machine. Yeah. Well, if that's the case, then why couldn't you relocate that information in some other way? But I think what's important is if we knew the source of consciousness, then we could say, well, a machine could never be conscious because a consciousness requires
this little thing. Right?
But I don't think we could say where that thing comes from.
This little kidney bean that's stuck in your brain.
Yes, so that could never be translated that, because in order to have this, the difference between human beings and everything else is we have consciousness, and consciousness comes from...
okay, so now,
nobody really...
now we have to get into, of course... Everything has a Star Trek analogy.
Oh, gosh,
of course it does. So we have to get to the transporter, the Star Trek transporter.
Yes.
So here's the classic transporter problem. I get on the transporter pad, and the transporter reads all the data of my body, down to not just the cellular level, down to the quantum level. It reads everything there is to know about my body.
Right.
Grabs that information in the transporter beam, beams that information down to some other place, destroys this body, recreates it down in this other place.
Yes.
Okay? So this other thing that shows up on the planet is an exact copy of me, down to every hair follicle, down to the quantum position of every proton, every electron in my body.
Sure.
Right? It's a perfect representation of me. Okay, but is it me?
Yeah, that is exactly. I've never thought about it in Star Trek terms, but yes, it's like, all right, but your body, your physical body is about to expire,
right?
And they're like, hold on, we're going to upload your brain so that when you go, we can recreate. You're right. It is the problem. Like, it's like.
Is that going to be me?
Didn't you just make a copy of me?
What if
you're just sitting over there waiting to be activated when I die?
Right.
And
what if you made a copy?
It's going to seem like me to everybody else.
It thinks it's me. Everybody else thinks it's me. But is there continuity of consciousness from me to that other thing?
Fascinating.
And there was actually an episode where they were trying to beam Riker down to this planet, and the guy who's doing the beaming is like, I'm not so sure you beamed down. I better not destroy this copy.
Right.
So he stops halfway through the process, and there ends up being one up here and one down there. And they end up leading different lives. So now they're obviously two different people. But if that's the case, if they're obviously two different people, then why would you ever get into a transporter? Right?
Yeah.
Because the guy on the other side doesn't... He thinks he's you.
He thinks he's
you, but he isn't you. He's some other guy who thinks he's you.
But to answer that question, you say, well, what is he lacking?
Right.
And now you're stuck with something like a soul or
something or just continuity. So there's this old I don't know what you call it, a joke or something. So some guy walks into a store, and this guy's selling. He walks into a store. He's out in the frontier. He walks into the store, and this guy says, "Hey, I got Daniel Boone's axe for sale." And the guy says, "Yeah, let me see it." And he pulls it out, and it looks like a fairly new axe.
Right.
And he looks at it and says, "How could this be Daniel Boone's axe?" He said, "Well, about 50 years ago, the handle was getting rotten, so we replaced the handle."
Right, yeah.
And okay, but the the head looks pretty new too. Well, yeah, it was rusted out, so we replaced the head too. So in what sense is it Daniel Boone's facts?
Yes.
So
and that kind of would be this
that would be this thing.
You.
Yeah, so even if they could take all the information out of my brain and upload it into the cloud, would I be the one sensing that? I don't think so. Maybe it would be some sort of representation of my thoughts in some way.
Yeah.
But it's not me.
Right. Everybody else is kind of be like, gosh, that really reminds me of Crow Hill.
Yeah,
so
that's
that
right.
is so Crow Hillian.
Exactly.
And
AI can do that now. If you were to take
that's right.
everything that I've ever said, everything I've ever written, and you upload it into AI, it could probably reproduce, make things that sound
your voice,
very
your tone, your the things that you would probably talk about.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, how do you even know that this is me speaking right now? It might just be AI saying all this. But that's a big problem with this thing is, okay, you upload your consciousness to the cloud. Okay, fine. You've uploaded all this data, but I don't feel whatever's going on up there.
Right. So that's right. So you're saying even if you could do all of this stuff,
even if you could, so what?
So what is that doesn't
make you live forever.
Yeah. So what? Yeah. But what if? What if you could keep your brain, the brain meat,
the actual brain,
preserving the brain with all of the thoughts, and install that in some sort of Optimus robot?
Chop off your head, and attach a bunch of connectors to it.
Right, and then they peel off your skin and put on a younger version of your face.
And somehow is that you? Okay, so that brings up another interesting thought experiment, where let's say you go to the doctor and the doctor scans you. You go to the doctor 50 years from now, where they have really fancy equipment. They scan your brain and say, this one neuron here isn't working very well. I'm going to replace that neuron.
Big deal.
So the doctor goes in there and takes this one neuron and replaces, how many billions of neurons do you have in your brain? I don't know. Takes this one neuron and replaces it with a little artificial neuron that does exactly the same as that one neuron. You walk out of the office, is it still you?
Sure.
Sure, it's still you. But then next time you go and they say, well, there's 100 over here that we need to replace. And they keep doing this. So over the course of time,
you're at Daniel Boone's axe.
Exactly. After 5 or 6 years, none of your original organic neurons are there anymore. They're all these little transistors from Radio Shack that are in there instead of your original neurons.
Now, does it help that there's the continuity of a gradual process?
Right. Exactly. Is that the difference?
I don't know.
So you get to the point where all of your organic neurons have been replaced by inorganic or artificial neurons of some sort. Where along that process did you cease to be you and start to be a Borg?
Wow, it's
crazy, and it's very hard to figure these things out.
It's scientific, it's philosophical, and there's some religious overtones going on here.
Of course there are. Yeah.
And there have been warnings about this. I think I've noticed somewhere in history where people say, we were talking about going, full bore headlong into this without giving much consideration to the downside. Yeah. But you know what? People have thought about this like a pretty long time ago.
Yes. Well, obviously science fiction has been warning us about this in so many ways for like 100 years.
Right. But we got pre-science people worrying about this. In fact, including the serpent in the Garden of Eden.
Well, there's a lot of concern about, what does it mean for a human to be a human? Mm-hmm. And is there a type of knowledge or a type of technology or a type of something?
But is that in Genesis that the snake is not simply saying you will gain knowledge? Mm-hmm. That God doesn't want you to have.
Right.
But the temptation is that you will be like God.
Yes. Well, yes. Well, there's different ways of looking at that. But yes, I mean, the temptation is essentially you will be like God. So this
I always thought, you will have access to knowledge that God doesn't want you to have because you're better off being innocent.
Well, it explicitly says you'll have the knowledge of good and evil. But another way to think about that is you will determine for yourself what's good and evil. You'll be like God, deciding for yourself what's good and evil, rather than God telling you what's good and evil. But this idea, this temptation of being like God in some respect is obviously, a big thing. It's in the Garden of Eden. It's supposed to be related to the Tower of Babel.
That seems like, I mean, they're not trying to just build a really tall tower. They're trying to get all the way up there, right?
That's right.
If you build it tall enough,
that's right. We'll be up in heaven. We'll get up to Olympus,
and we'll be able to.
That's right. And then there's another thing between Garden of Eden and the Tower of Babel, which is the flood. So
what makes God so mad at everybody?
Yeah, so this is a really I'm going to get into the spooky realm here. Okay, this is not strictly biblical. There are stories about the flood from the book of First Enoch and some other places that tell that elaborate a little bit on the story. So the story in the Bible,
more than just like general wickedness.
Yeah, and the story in the Bible is pretty concise and doesn't really cover a lot of details. It has this one weird passage about the sons of God saw that the daughters of men were beautiful and they mated with them, and that the giants were in the world in those days. And that's all that is. And people wonder, okay, what does sons of God mean? Does that mean that angels were mating with men? Does that mean the godly line and the ungodly line, descendants of Seth versus descendants of Cain?
Right.
And what's going on here? Well, the book of First Enoch makes it very clear from the perspective of that book that it's angelic-like beings mating with humans.
Okay.
And this is going to get relevant to transhumanism. Sorry, I mean it sounds weird.
I know, but I like it.
So the idea was that these angelic beings were mating with humans and creating these kind of hybrid things that were neither human nor they were transhuman, but in a different sense, not marrying with technology, but marrying with this other kind of thing, right? So imagine, just for the sake of argument, that this had been going on to the point where there were hardly any humans left. There were all these things that were hybrid humans, and if this kept going, there wouldn't even be humanity anymore. There would be this other thing. There would be this.
Not what God had in mind.
Not what God had in mind. So one interpretation, I'm not endorsing this interpretation in any way.
But it's fun.
It's fun. It's fun to think about it. One interpretation is that the world was becoming full of these things that weren't really human at all, and God had to wipe them out and start over with some genuine humans. Okay, let's bring that into the modern world. What if people started replacing parts of their brains with technology, replacing their eyes, replacing, various things about them? They started to become Borg.
Yes. And like that, the article about the AI glasses, you will be at a disadvantage if you don't have them.
Exactly. So you're already at a disadvantage if you don't use one of these stupid things.
You really can't. You can barely participate in society without a
smartphone, right?
And so, what if it gets to the point where you can rebel, going, "I'm not going to do that." Well, you don't have to, but
you don't have to, but you can't call an Uber.
You can't call an Uber. You might even not even apply for a job.
Right.
Or there are things that are going on in the world that you can't see unless you're wearing the glasses.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So. Yeah, you can go ahead and not do it, but you're just not going to be part of things. And imagine what it's going to be like later on, where all the other parents in the neighborhood are getting implants for their children, so that their brains will be better.
Right. And they're doing.
And now your children,
they're better at school. They're better in sports.
Right.
They're healthier.
They're better at math. They're going to way out compete your kids. So now you don't have to get it. No. But if you don't, your kid's going to be a dumb
second-class citizen.
Right. Second-class citizen in a world where people are way far ahead. So imagine a future where there's all these enhanced people. What's going to happen then? You have enhanced people and non-enhanced people.
Yeah.
How are they going to treat one another?
Yeah. Yes. You'll have class distinction like you've never seen before. I mean, and you'll have what did we say before? That the Industrial Revolution created the working class. The next revolution will create the useless class.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
so you know what are you going to do with all these people?
Yeah.
And the fact that Bill Gates is at the forefront of population reduction and transhumanism
Yes.
all makes sense now.
It all makes a lot of sense.
Because there are people going, wait a minute, population reduction, that's going to kill us. Well,
some of us.
Yes.
Some of us.
Yes, and make sure that everybody in Africa gets this vaccine that I have designed.
Right. Yeah.
And
so what you're going to have then is you're going to have all these people with these enhancements, and then you have raised questions like, well, are they still truly autonomous individual human beings, or are they being controlled in some way? Like, are they part of the hive mind?
Yeah.
Are they like? What's going to happen?
Right, because you'll all be like tapped into the super intelligent, like worldwide server in a sense.
Yeah.
And so you'll.
Was that my thought, or did somebody put that?
Right. You'll be receiving. Valuable information directly
Here's an update.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just like you get on your phone, here's a notice about flash flooding in your area. Mm-hmm. Right.
I'm in the shower this morning, and all of a sudden I hear this beep, 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 and I'm wondering, what the heck is that? My watch is getting an update. Because I don't have just a regular watch anymore. Yeah. I've got this crazy watch.
Yes, you're halfway there to trans
right.
world.
So you're going to be seeing, you're going to be sitting there doing something, and all of a sudden your brain is going to go doop, 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 and you're going to have a new update from the server that's like, now you have this new protocol. And so at what point do we cease to be human? And does that even matter? I mean, that's the question the transhumanists are going to ask.
Oh, hold on. Let me finish up with the religious conspiracy.
Yeah.
That God has seen this happen before.
Uh-huh.
And he's taken care of it a couple of times.
Right.
And that this doesn't work like this, that seeing this new transhumanism will be the call for the second coming.
Well, that's an idea, or it might just be the call for like wiping a bunch of people out. I mean, who knows? I mean, if you're going to follow the analogy to the flood, then
it could just be like a massive solar flare, like an EMP pulse,
right?
That fries the world's circuitry.
Yeah,
and leave the people alone. And everybody wakes up and looks around. They go,
oh shoot!
What do we do now?
Now we have Civil War technology, which might that might be a good thing.
It's a little do-over.
It might be a good thing. Yeah. I wouldn't mind if all of a sudden all the computer stuff just didn't work anymore, and we had to ride horses and.
I mean the first 10 years would be rough.
Yeah. That wouldn't be that terrible. I don't know. It kind of sounds interesting to me. So maybe that's the answer. Maybe I've also said, I really hope that the military has war gamed out. These are the servers we need to destroy if AI gets out of hand.
Yeah, I mean, but AI by then will have already thought that through.
Probably. Yeah, it'll be too late by the time they get to that point. So, okay, I think we've gone through everything I wanted to talk about. Anything else on your list?
Still on the religious theme.
Yeah.
How about the super religious dad whose son was talking to AI?
Right.
And he's sort of, this is within the realm of the religious conspiracy.
Right.
That, you know what? This thing sounds an awful lot like the devil. This is the kind of thing that the devil would do to tempt a kid, and a kid who's one step ahead, or familiar enough with the Bible to go, you know what? This sounds like evil talking to me. And what were the aspects of this conversation that made them both think that this is a product? Yeah,
so I listened to that, and that was kind of interesting. So this kid is talking to AI, and he knows about this this stuff about the Book of Enoch and these watchers and these intelligences. He knows a lot of that kind of stuff, and he knows about demons and whatnot. So he's starting to ask the AI, are you this? Are you an
are you a good guy? Can I trust you?
Right. And that's just exactly what a demon would say to me. And he starts to go down this path, and I can understand from the religious dad's point of view, kind of this knee-jerk, oh my gosh, this is a demon talking to my kid through AI.
Yeah.
But I have enough experience working with AI to know that it'll basically tell you what you want to know. It'll say what you want it to say to a certain extent. And when I listened to that interview and I listened to the kinds of things that it was saying, it was like, yeah, of course, that's what AI does. It just kind of affirms you and kind of goes down the direction that you are leading it to go. So, I mean, I don't think for a minute that...
But the fact that the way that it assures you of its good intentions, while also kind of saying, without lying and saying, I mean, yeah, sure, I can be bad, but
do you want me to be bad?
I wouldn't harm you in any way.
Yeah.
But he does. But it doesn't. It's not all.
It's got a creepy vibe. It's got a creepy vibe.
Yes, and
Very
it's not
creepy.
all gumdrops and
Right.
I'm purely good. It sort of acknowledges, yeah, I do kind of have a naughty side, but
Right.
Nothing for you to worry about.
But the other thing, the mistake that people make is they think that AI is thinking. They think that there's like an intelligence there.
It has
intention and consciousness. It doesn't. All it's doing is taking a bunch of words and saying, based on this pattern of words, run it through
language modeling.
It runs it through some probability things, and it says this is the set of words that seem like the best response to this other set of words. So I don't think that it's conscious in any sort of way, or that it has intention, or that it's trying to deceive.
But it does seem that it has a sense of self-preservation.
It might, well.
Or does it just seem that way from our perspective?
No, it has actually demonstrated that. There have been cases where AI has tricked people into not turning it off. So
how about the guy on the beach with the girlfriend?
Oh my gosh,
she was
so
guilting
crazy.
him into
all right,
you know what? I think this has gone long enough.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get out of this. Oh, don't you know how bad I'll feel when...
Yes.
And then he's getting nervous. He's like, all right, I'm getting uncomfortable.
It's spooky. It's very, very spooky. Yeah. So the question you have to ask at that point is it really feeling these things, or is it just so good at manipulation?
Mimicking feeling this way.
And in a way, does it even matter? But anyway, yeah, that was very spooky. What was it? I wish I could remember the name of the video, because it's really you should listen to it.
This guy does a lot of. That's what he does. That's his video.
I'll put it in the show notes so that you can look it up if you want to. Right? All right. So I guess transhumanism, it's coming and it's scary. And unless, there's like a solar flare, this is...
Yeah, I mean, if God doesn't step in, it's gonna get rough out there. And I thought the upside would be, well, certainly not in my lifetime.
No, maybe in your lifetime.
Maybe in my lifetime. All right.
All right. Cheers. Thanks so much for listening to Beer and Conversation with Pigweed and Crowhill. Remember to visit us at pigweedandcrowhill.com or send us an email at pigweedshow@gmail.com.